Alright guys, first thing I want to show you really quick is how I unknit something. Okay, so I'm knitting along and I want to undo this stitch. See how I have my finger under the loop, and as I pull that loop, see how it stretches this hole? Okay. It's a subtle movement, but opening that hole up, that just tells me where this needle should go. Okay. Open that hole up. Oh, look. Slide that through. Okay. So you can see my loop is now on the other needle. I can safely slide that off. Okay, so we'll do it again. Open that up. Unknit. Okay, same thing would go for purls. The only difference is when you're pulling your loop, you pull it from the front if it was a purl stitch. This is also going to be where I show you kind of some of the visual landmarks for where you're purling on the back side, on the wrong side row. Okay, so you see how I stopped because I always look for this trio of stitches. Okay, what am I talking about? I've got a stitch, which to me lays this direction. Then I have my purl stitch, which you can see that bump right there. Okay, it's like the knuckle or the middle of the foot, but it goes straight. Okay, so I have a stitch leaning one direction, the middle stitch is going straight. This next one, that's the yarn over, okay, leans that way. So I've got this crown shape, let's call it a crown shape. So that's the first landmark I'm looking for. Because I haven't used stitch markers for this particular pattern. The other thing is every time you're going to get to a yarn over, you're going to have all of your holes lining up. Okay? And let's look at finding patterns. We've got the crown shape, okay, 1, 2, 3, line of holes. Yarn over stitch is always oriented in a different direction. So see how that one leans towards the left? It's another landmark for you, okay? Because if you're looking down while you're knitting, look for patterns, look for the repeats, look for the landmarks, whatever it is that's going to work for you. Okay? But that's how I identify those. Now, working this portion, because we're working in garter stitch, we're going to knit. There's our purl. Bring our yarn forward, and it looks like a big gap. Purl. Okay, big loose stitch. That's our yarn over. Yarn over should always feel like you're knitting a loose stitch, because that's what it is. You're giving that stitch structure because it didn't have any from before. It didn't exist, right? That is an addition that you've added to this fabric, is that stitch. That's where that hole comes from. Remember, knit that. The other landmark is after you've done that purl and that yarn over, this should feel like there's a bigger gap between your two needles. And once again, that's because you've added that extra space. There's a bigger gap. It's not wrong. That should be another identifying landmark. As you're working it, you feel and identify the traits of those stitches around it, so that, even if you're kind of just tootling along, if you encounter one, oh, see, look, I accidentally knit in the stitch below. I'm going to slip that off and do that again. So anyway, if you encounter one of the elements, one of the couple elements we identified as landmarks, but you're like, wait, did I do my purl stitch? I know when I see the yarn over, or when I see the crown shape, that my purl stitch was in there, but did I do it? Let me unknit back a few stitches. See what I did. Okay, and if I missed it, hopefully spotting the landmarks allows you to go back and maybe catch and correct something before you go too far. Okay, and I'm getting to the end of the row, so I'm going to stop the video.